Welcome in. We're here. We're back. Ready for another episode. Mandy, happy Veterans Day. We're recording this on Veterans Day. How's
That's
it
right.
going?
Did you like the jazz hands I gave you, Amani? I gave you
Always
like a
love the jazz
jazz, like a
hands.
rainbow jazz hands.
I always love the
You like
jazz
that?
hands. I always love the
Yeah.
jazz hands. Yeah.
It's going great. It's going great. Everybody in my house has off work today except for me. But that's part of being a part of a 24-hour operation. Hospitality is what it is. So I hear that this is the last thing I'm doing today, and then I'm going to bail the rest of the day and go have fun. My niece and her boyfriend have been in town since Thursday. And
Okay.
so my cup is full because I get a lot of family time, and we've been doing some really, really, really fun things. We've been on a boat, and we had a spa day, and we did some hikes, and Scoot taught everybody how to make pasta yesterday. We made some ravioli, which was
Okay.
really fun. Yeah. Have you ever made
Cool.
pasta before, Amani?
Only like at a group cooking class. That was the only time that I remember doing it at a group cooking class, never on my own. But
Did
I'm always looking to add certain special elements to my repertoire. So maybe I might, consider it. I got the
well,
crab cakes and the sweet potato pie and the curry chicken. I got a lot of things down, but making pasta, that would be very, very productive, shall we say.
I got to tell you, you say your crab cakes is your lady killer. Making pasta is a whole other level of
Okay.
adding to your repertoire. I'm telling you, you never
Okay.
know what could happen with that.
To be determined. To be
Yeah.
determined. Yes.
What about you? What did you get into this weekend?
Okay, so this weekend, I spent much of the weekend recording like the first 20 chapters of my book. I got the equipment. I'm ready to go. So I did a lot of work on Saturday. I watched a little
Okay.
football on Sunday. And then I went to a birthday party also. And that was pretty much it. So it wasn't too hectic. Yeah, it wasn't too hectic. Yeah.
Wait, can we go back? Did you say the first 20 chapters? How many chapters are in your book? Your atlas, your encyclopedia that you're writing right now?
I think there's a total of like 72 or 73. But remember,
Oh,
each group gets a chapter.
okay.
So there's like 65 total groups or whatever, 60, 63. So each group gets a chapter. So they're bite-sized chapters.
Okay, so they're digestible snacks of a
Yes,
chapter.
yes, they
Okay,
are. Yes,
I got it.
absolutely.
That's a lot
Yes.
of chapters. Although I'll say this, if you're reading that book, you probably feel so accomplished because you're like, "Oh, I read 20 chapters today," but really
It's like
it's
little.
it's 40 pages
It's
or
hard, and you
something.
have to make sure you know the pronunciations and all sorts of
Mm,
things. So, but it's good. Yeah, so that was the weekend, and then we'll see about this weekend. I think Mike Tyson is fighting in Vegas on Friday, so we'll see about that. He'll be on Netflix, so that's interesting.
mm,
But yeah, there's always lots of stuff going on here, so we'll see.
that's fun. Will you go anywhere to watch it, or will you watch it in the comfort of your home with your pup?
I'll probably go somewhere to watch it. So yeah, so we'll see. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, keep me posted. Keep me
Of
posted.
course.
All right, should we get to speaking of a prized
Yeah.
fighter, rock star, should we get to our
Yeah.
guest here?
I'll let you do the intro because I would might say some things that might embarrass our guests during the intro.
Oh.
So I'm gonna let you do the intro and then I'll add in. So go ahead, take it away.
I think I should do the intro and then you should say a kind embarrassing thing, something that would
Okay,
make
go
her
ahead.
giggle. I think that'd be fun. Can we do
Okay,
that?
go ahead. Yes.
Okay, I love that. Okay. This guest, I'm so excited that we have on the show. She's a leader in the hospitality industry. She gives back to the business. She's a founder and chief connector at Soundings. She's been honored by all of the major organizations, MPI, PCMA, Smart Meetings. She was recognized for top 40 under 40 top leaders in events. She's one of us, Amani, and we're so honored to have Tracy Judge on the show today.
Yes. Yes. Round of applause here. Oh, you can hear it now too. See? You hear the applause now.
I
Yes.
hear it. I hear it.
Okay. So, fun story. It was a little over 5 years ago when I first met Tracy. She came up from San Diego to the Manhattan Beach Library, and we had an interview for my other podcast, the My Experience podcast. And Tracy walks in, she's like, I never really do interviews. I don't really like public speaking. Like, this is all very new for me. And if you have seen the growth from that date in September of 2019 to now, she's on like major stages in front of like 5,000 people handling it.
Aw.
It's very inspiring. So I just want to give you your props and say I've seen the growth from that time 5 years ago to now. So it's very inspiring and I'm super proud of you.
Thanks, Amani. That was the first podcast I ever did
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
a while
Amazing.
ago.
Amazing. So we have so much more to catch up on. I want to ask a question kind of based off what I just shared. Like, how have you seen yourself grow in your comfort with doing podcasts and being on stage in the last 5 years?
Oh wow. Um, I definitely get more comfortable with it over time, and I'm able to respond more organically. I think in certain situations you learn that less preparation is better. So I like when I don't know questions in advance or what I'm going to be asked because I find that I'm more natural. And then also, it's one less thing on my to do list that I have to do to prepare for as well. So I find that that helps. But I will say, especially not presenting virtually, but presenting live on stage, I still get nervous every single time.
Okay.
And
Okay.
people always say to me, well, oh, Tracy, it'll be easy. Are you speaking? Oh, yeah, it's easy for you. I'm like, no, it's not. Like I like to speak on the first day of conference so I can get it over with and I don't have to worry about it. And I always say like the ugliest person I ever am is right before I present because my nerves are bad and I feel so vulnerable. And it's when like it brings out the worst in me sometimes. And then when it's over, I'm the happiest person you can imagine.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so Manny, I will go back and forth. So, Manny, I'm gonna let you kind of take it from here as I ponder my next questions for Tracy.
Okay. Tracy, thank you so much for being here. It's so good to see you.
Thank you.
I'm happy that you're able to say that. I think knowing ourselves and knowing like, oh man, I'm the worst person I could possibly be right before I give a speech. Like, I think that's so vulnerable to share. But I think just the fact that you've taken the time to think about that, to know yourself is awesome. So I just want to give you kudos for that because some people might not know that, and other people might be like, that Tracy's a real jerk, which I've never heard anybody say.
Oh, it's
But
happened. It really has with, people on my team in the past. And Nikki, that works very closely with me and always has, is the most patient person you'll ever meet. But she's been through it all with me. So she understands it, right? But other people don't. And there's this change in behavior, right? That's offsetting sometimes. So I learn I have to say, this is how I am before this. It has nothing to do with you. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry in advance, but this is how it is sometimes. And it's because it's in those most vulnerable moments, right? That you usually see the worst in people.
I agree, and I think it's beautiful you give a disclaimer. So that wasn't my question. That was just like I wanna call that out. I wanna call it out because I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool. So everybody knows you as a powerhouse in the hospitality business, but not everybody knows what your company is or all the different legs of your company. So can you just give us a quick sampling of the company and some of the different services you provide with your company?
Sure. So my company is Soundings, and we are a talent platform for the business events industry. We started with Soundings Connect, and with that brand, we connect organizations with freelance and full-time talent. Most of what we do is freelance or contract work. And through that, we developed Soundings Thrive, which is a talent community. And that really came out of COVID when there was no work. We said, what can we provide? And it was community and education. So what we realized all along, that's what we were missing, was this community element. And that if we give back to our talent in our community and we stay engaged with talent and give them upskilling opportunities, then one, they want to be part of what we're doing. And also we know that they're upskilling for and getting to know them, right? So it makes our talent matches even better. So that brand's called Soundings Thrive. And recently we launched a brand called Soundings Elevate, and it's career coaching services for business events professionals. So it is one-on-one coaching, and we also do a career accelerator program where it's 8 people that are part of the program. They work with a coach individually first for one session. They do their Clifton Strengths, and then it's 3 months. It's every other week, and they meet with a group. So it's really about building community, right, around career.
Mhm. I love that. So let's put it into practice. So if I'm a corporation or I'm an entity or an association and I need help, I need support for my event, I need somebody to do my registration, plan my event, do my social media, something like that. What does that look like? What does that interaction with your company look like? How could you walk me through that?
Yeah, you can fill out a form on soundingsconnect.com and request talent that way. Then someone from my team reaches out. We connect. We connect with you directly and learn about the project, what you're looking for. Dive a little deeper into your needs, teams, personalities and then we have a community of talent of over 3,000 people now. So we have ways, in the back end where we select the talent based on what we're looking for. And it's not just based on experience. We're looking at strengths. We're looking at, personality traits and, past reviews of the talent and many different things to make sure we're making the right match. Then once we make the match, our customers can interview one person or multiple people. Then once the selection is made, we connect them. And then we help with all the administrative stuff, all the paperwork, workers' classification compliance, which is huge, as we know, living in California with AB5. And then we help support our customers on like more of the HR side of things. And then they work directly with the talent on competency. So whatever they were hired to do, they integrate with our customers as part of their team.
I love that. It's such a fine oiled machine. Okay, Amani, last question, I promise, and I'll volley. I'll pass. I'll pass the pom poms back. I promise. So
Okay.
you said you have a community of 3,000, 3,000 talents, right? 3,000 people that you can match make. How are you finding this talent? How are you building this talent? How are you engaging this talent so they stay with you and then they're available when the opportunity comes up?
Yeah, so one of the things, right, is the stickiness in what we're able to offer talent. So from an engagement perspective, so like I said, part of being part of the Soundings Thrive community is a big piece of that, and we offer different events and upskilling opportunities. We have a newsletter that tells talent what they need to know about what's going on in the industry. When we do workers' classification compliance, if someone classifies as an employee, after they work a certain amount of hours, they can get health benefits and all different types of perks as well. So what we're really trying to do is give our talent everything that they love about working with a company, but the independence to choose their projects. So that's how we retain talent. But we've been really, really fortunate. We haven't had to do much outreach to grow our community in well over a year, because we get so many referrals. So it's usually talent referring other people in. When we've started to grow internationally, so as we go into different markets with different customers, usually then in different areas, we're going out and then recruiting talent for that specifically. But our community itself grows very organically.
Love that. Thank you. Awesome information. I have a better understanding now. It's great.
Great. I'm particularly interested to learn about how you made such fast decisions during the pandemic to pivot. I hate the word pivot, but you really pivoted and added more offerings and were very, very, I don't want to say, like, I'm trying to say you were very beneficial. You helped out a lot of people who were hurting for work, as well as people who were looking for work and companies that were looking for people to work virtually. How did you come up with those decisions and make them so quickly?
I think it's gut. Like I said, the building our community is really what allowed us to do that. So we built this community and we looked at, kept them engaged. And then we looked at the market and said, okay, what is needed in the market right now? And it was virtual event support, obviously. So we were able to partner with some of the virtual event platforms, and then they would give us education and hands-on learning opportunities. And we were able to grow our talent. So a lot of it was just, honestly, gut, right? And you're trying different things, and we tried all different things. So not everything works. A lot fails, but it was a much different time for our company then, and we were still so new.
Yeah.
So much easier just to try stuff. And, and if it works, great. If it didn't, we moved on. But the smaller you are, the more agile you're able to be. So that was a big part of it as well. And it was also like a do or die situation.
Yes.
Right? Like
you had no choice. Yeah.
It was, it's that like I'm going to make it or I'm not. So you have to make some big bets. And I was really fortunate then that the big bets that I made worked.
Yeah. Now you've also created a community that's over 3,000 people. What has been the success to creating such a thriving community when many other communities struggle to stay around for extended periods of time?
That's a really good question. I guess we need to ask our community that.
Put that on your to-do list then. We'll add that to your to-do list.
I think that a big part of it is, to me, our number one core value is authenticity, and we want all different types of talent from all different backgrounds with all different types of expertise in our community, and we have those conversations with talent all the time. So it's not just about finding our customers, the right experience and the right talent. It's about making sure that the customer is a good fit for the talent as well. So I think that people appreciate that piece of it, that we actually think about them and we invest it back in the talent, which a lot of communities don't. And from a staffing company perspective, that's our biggest differentiator. If you compare us to a staffing company, is that we're investing so much back into the talent and their development and building that talent community for them, because especially with the freelance talent in our community, they don't have the places to plug in, that or get the resources that people do at when they work directly for an organization. So we continue to help them grow and give them those resources as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What is next for Soundings and your whole plethora of brands and kind of community? What's next?
Oh my gosh. Hopefully quick growth, Amani.
Well, okay. We'll put it out there for you. We're going to manifest it.
So, I mean that though, we've launched, we've innovated a lot, and with Soundings Elevate, that was our newest brand, and that one happened kind of organically as well. But it is, it's challenging running 3 different brands under one brand, and our customers are different, and our voice is the same, right? But what our customers versus our talent want to hear, or our coaching customers, is quite different. So we're working on all of that and making sure that our communications are streamlined, but also really continuing to think about the individual, right? So we're not blasting people with the marketing or information that isn't relevant to them. So that's, our biggest thing is really right now is focusing on being able to tell that brand story and making sure that people understand, who we are and what we do and why it's relevant to them.
Love it. Love it. Over to you, Mandy.
Yeah, I just have a question. You talk so much about agility, and you're modeling it right now by having these 3 unique brands all under one umbrella. So, how do you define agility, and why is it so critical to our professional lives?
Is this moves really fast now, and especially with how quickly technology is changing things with AI, generative AI, and also in our industry, we see the needs have changed a lot, especially since pre-COVID. So agility to me is the ability to be able to course correct, right? Or go a different direction when you need to do it. And that's where, I mean, even for me, we've started to use our model, right, a lot more than we did. And we use more freelance talent to help support our business right now than ever, because I need specialized talent at different areas, right? In different areas or different times, depending on what our focus is. So that's what we're focused on, especially for our customers, because it's hard. It's hard to keep like huge, a lot of talent across the year. And it's a lot of overhead to have, especially when you don't know what you're going to need. And so that's one of the things we work with our customers a lot on, is looking at what does the organization look like now, and then what is needed across the year all the time, and then where can we plug in resources when we're able to. And a lot of that as well is making sure that you have the right talent at the right time. So somebody might be able to do a job, but they may be like so at it, right? Whereas you could have, one person that was so at something, somebody else that was really good at it, and vice versa. So if you use 2 people instead of 1 person, then you're able to have the best product. So really, we focus on that with our customers. How do you have the most agile team that's going to give you the best result?
And what advice do you have for people out there that might say, change is tough for me. I don't want to try something new. It's like moving a boulder to get somebody to look at something from a new perspective. Like, what advice do you have for them to apply agility to their model, their business model, or even their personal lives? How can you get them to just get a little taste of it to see a little bit of success on that?
Change is scary, but it's also inevitable. And from a personal perspective, if you're not willing to change professionally right now, then you're going to, likely not have a job in a few years from now, right?
Yeah.
Because things are evolving and you need to be able to evolve with it. And there's a lot of things that we might not like that makes us uncomfortable about these changes, but it's the reality of the situation. I think generative AI in particular in our industry has been nobody wants to adopt it. And you look at how other industries are using it, and we're just so far behind right now in being able to do it. The other thing, or using it regularly, the other thing from an agility standpoint is that if you really focus on what are my strengths and understand what your strengths are, and then find the right work for those strengths, you're going to be a lot happier and you're going to be more productive. So having these agile models allows people to do that and allows people to focus on the things that they're really good at in their careers. So I think it scares people, but I don't think that they realize on the flip side of it how much better their career can be if they focus on that.
Yeah, great advice. Great advice.
So I got an interesting question. Well, I have a bunch of interesting ones, but this is the one I'll ask you now. Based on like your 5 to 6 years of speaking professionally, if you were to pick one topic that you could speak about every day and be completely ecstatic about speaking about it, what would that topic be?
Oh, that's a hard one, Imani.
You can give me 2 if you want, or 3. Any
Okay, I'll
topic
give
in the
you.
world. It doesn't have to be related to meetings or anything. What would you want to talk about?
Okay, the one that I can talk about all the time, day in and day out, would be when we talk about strengths. So I think it's really enlightening for people. We've been doing it at a lot of conferences over the last few years. It's actually what inevitably led to our coaching services, but by allowing people to understand their strengths and know their strengths and then lean into them, I've seen a lot of eye-opening, with in half-hour sessions that really can help change careers. So I love talking about strengths because it focuses on people and like it starts from within, right? It's not starting from, here's the competency that you need to learn. It's think about you first. And I don't think we do that enough in the industry. So I love speaking about that one. From a thought leadership standpoint, for me, and what's most interesting to me right now is I love talking about agile talent and agile talent strategies and skills and strength-based hiring, because the ability to do both of them, I think, is the future of work and how we're going to build really efficient and successful teams moving forward.
What's your favorite example of an agile hire that you've made or placed?
Oh my gosh, my favorite example?
Or one that comes to mind.
I'll say this disclaimer for Tracy. She's not picking favorites here. This is just the example that comes to mind. I'm sure she has many favorites.
So there's all different ones. One that comes to mind is we had one of the industry associations needed a registration coordinator, and they didn't have a big budget to be able to do it. So we almost walked away from it, but then we realized we did phone a friend. So we found someone junior that wanted to learn, that had the capacity to do the job. And then we had someone more senior there to help support that person. So it wasn't put on extra work wasn't put on the manager to teach this person. So it was super successful when we did that, but that talent did another job after that and eventually got hired full time by another company because we were able to give her that experience. So that's the stuff that's super rewarding when you see how you can grow and support people's careers.
Yes. So I have some word association. I can do it now. I can wait till later. What do you think, Mandy?
Do it. It's
Okay.
fun.
I have 5. Don't be scared. You look a little scared. Don't be scared. I'm going to say a word, and I want you to share the first word or phrase that comes to mind. You can say whatever you like here. So the first word or thing or phrase is Philadelphia.
Heart.
All right. Restaurant industry.
Hard.
Saxophone player.
Lisa Simpson.
We're going to come back to that one. I love that one. Travel director.
Worldly.
And a 40 ounce.
Freedom.
Oh, there you go. That was
Well played,
smart.
well played. Why does
That was
Lisa
smart.
Simpson come up for the saxophone player? Tell the people.
I don't know. I used to watch The Simpsons all the time when I was younger, and I really liked her. And also, I had an older cousin that played the saxophone, so it encouraged me to. So I did 1 year of the saxophone. I was terrible at it. So I didn't make it much past that year, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Over to you, Mandy. Great
I love
job.
a horn. Tracy, I didn't know you were a horn player. Even if you were a brief horn player, I once had a trombone and I was really bad at it too. So we could probably share horror stories how our neighbors hated us for a little bit when we had our horns, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Um I want to talk about boundaries because you talk a lot about boundaries, setting boundaries, holding space, setting space. And I wanted to ask you about, where you think boundaries sit in in your business and when was a time where you didn't set good boundaries. You don't have to name specific people or places, but like can you think of a time where you overextended yourself or you didn't set good boundaries and how did you get to the other side of that? Because I think it's a problem for a lot of people, especially women leaders, and it's a practice to learn how to set boundaries. Just when you're curious about your thoughts on boundaries.
Yeah, I probably didn't learn to set boundaries, Mandy, until about 2 years ago.
Mm.
Great, better late than ever. It's good.
I was constantly burning myself out, and I had to do it. I had to put framework around it for me, but doing that also helps you understand yourself a lot better too. And I love talking about boundary setting. So for my team, and this happened when quiet quitting was the thing after COVID, and everyone was talking about it. I started thinking, how do you create an experience when you're a larger company or even a smaller company where the talent you have is happy with that experience? It's nearly impossible because everybody wants different things. So what I started doing was having our team set 3 boundaries, and you can change them each quarter. A lot of the times they stay the same because it takes a while, right, for us to get used to them. But it could be things like I think better in the morning, and I've been starting work earlier. So if you need me or need projects, let me know what they are the night before, or contact me earlier in the morning so I can get them done. And or it could be I don't spend enough time with my family and I'm not prioritizing it. So if you see things on my calendar that are me spending time with my family, then if you can just avoid them or avoid asking me. But also if you see me moving them, keep me accountable as well. So there's all different boundaries you can set. For me, it's I do a lot of nervous system work. So and we have a lot on our plates all the time. So I asked my team, like, when you see me start to get heightened, if you could just back off the topic, right? Because I'm trying to work on that and trying to work on those responses. So it helps me if they just back off and let me, deal with what I need to deal with and then come back to the topic later. So it's all different things there of the style of work and how we want to work. And it's not just boundaries, right, about life. It's boundaries about who we are as people. An example of this is one of the things I've realized through a lot of the coaching we do is often strengths become weaknesses. So a lot of the strengths
Mm,
that especially meeting planners have, they make them really good at what they do. And we have like achiever, responsibility, empathy, strengths like that. And often they don't set boundaries because of it. So for achiever, I'm going to achieve no matter what. Well, events, it never ends. The changes never end. Responsibility, I said I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do it. Probably shouldn't have said I was going to do it, but I did. So now I have to do it. Empathy. Oh, they're having a really hard time right now in their personal life. It's 2 weeks late, but I'll make up I'll do this at the last minute for them because of that.
mm.
And that's where a lot of the burnout and churn comes from because they're not protecting their boundaries that way. So we work with talent on okay, how do you one set the boundaries around what's really important to you, and also flip the script. So those strengths that you have that you're giving to other people, use them for yourself, right? Like you said that, you said that you wanted to have, more free time or more time with your family. Well, achieve that, right? You said you're going
Mhm.
to do it. Have, to take on that responsibility and have empathy for yourself. So it's super important. I think boundary setting of anything we can do in this industry is the number one tool that we should be training.
Yes, I
I
got a shout
I
out.
agree.
I'll let you continue, Manny. I want to shout out Oksana, who's watching, Sarah Du, my student who met you briefly online virtually, and then we also
Oh.
have Jennifer Duffy who's here. So thank y'all for tuning in. Over to you, Manny. Pardon me.
Well, and hi everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I think there's such a correlation between burnout and boundaries, and we all know that, but I just as you were talking, I just had the mental alliteration of, if I feel like I'm getting burnt out, let me relook at my boundaries. If I feel like I am scared about my boundaries, just remember what burnout looks like. I think just kind of like ping ponging back and forth between those B's is important. So thank you for illuminating that. I think that's important.
The reality in that is, like, we want to blame burnout gets blamed on other people, or it gets blamed on companies, or they did this to me. So we get
Yeah.
in this victim mode, which is a terrible place to be. I never want to feel like the victim. And we talk about stress a lot in this industry, but stress is how we respond to things. So it really is up to us to set those boundaries. And if we are burnt out, well, we're not setting good enough boundaries for ourselves. And if that means that we aren't right for the role that we're in, or we're not right for that company, then we need to make the decision to go. But we don't want to live in this burnout stress state.
Totally. I
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
agree. And I think in that, because you have so much experience, you've worked on all side of the business. You've worked for hotels, agencies, buyers to business owners. So for people on all sides of the business, what advice do you have for people out there that are navigating which side to be on or where to sit if they're on one side and they're thinking about another side?
Well, first, look at your strengths. I'll always say that. So if you're trying to navigate what to do next in your career, I really recommend Clifton Strengths, because that'll give you at least your top 5 strengths. And when you're thinking about what to do next, you want to think about, is that role going to use my strengths? And if it's not, you're just wasting your time and you're making your life a lot harder, and you're not going to produce your best work either. So that's number one. I am a huge believer in switching sides of the industry. It
Mhm.
makes you so much better at what you do, being able to understand the other side from a strategy perspective, from an empathy perspective, and really it being a good partner. So I went to grad school for hospitality and tourism and had to learn to translate that to the events business. But I learned so much about the hotel business, and I was a buyer. I'd been a buyer previously, then I was leading a team and at the time, and it helped so much that I understood their perspective.
Mhm.
So when we were negotiating on behalf of our customers, we understood how to do it to be fair to everyone in the process.
It's awesome.
Interesting.
It's great.
Yeah, yeah. We've come to the time of the show where we flip the script and we let you ask both myself and Manny any question you like. Nothing is off limits. So we ask, who are you going to ask the question to first, and what is that question?
All right, I'll ask Mandy first. So Mandy, as an entrepreneur, what have been the hardest things for you to overcome?
That's a great question. I mean, I think as an entrepreneur, the hardest thing for me to over has been for me to overcome is to not act on every single idea I have, because
Mhm.
it's a circus sideshow up here in my mind. And there's a lot of great ideas, but if you act on every single one, just because you have a great idea doesn't necessarily mean it has to become a business. Also, there is a great difference between businesses and hobbies. All of your hobbies do not need to become a business. It's totally okay just to have a hobby that you love, that makes you happy, and it doesn't have to be monetized. So I think like as an entrepreneur, once you get one business down, you're like, oh, what about this? What about that? What about that? So I think really fine tuning what it is that you do, how each element of that business serves each other, and just making sure you're feeding into each cycle of the business and being your own off switch when you think that you can do everything because you can't. You got to set some mental boundaries for yourself, and you've got to prevent burnout that way, just like you were talking about. But I think, like, just knowing the difference between a hobby and a business, and that not every single idea needs to be activated. It can just sit in your beautiful imagination and just hang out there for a little bit.
Great answer. Wow.
Mhm.
I love that, Mandy. That's why I said earlier, my focus right now is just on these 3 brands, right? Because
Yeah.
I can't at this moment, right, have any more ideas. We need to grow what we have. And I think that's been one of the challenging things for me as an entrepreneur as well.
Don't you get like that though, where you're like, you're on a run or a walk or a bike ride or whatever, and then you get all these ideas and you're like, I know what I'm gonna do. And then you have to just rein yourself in. Do you feel that? Is that a vibe for you too sometimes?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. And
Yeah.
I have ADHD, so I'm always, my mind moves so fast, and I can connect things really, really fast.
Me
And a lot
too.
of times connections don't make sense to other people right away, right?
Yeah.
But I see the bigger picture, and I have to, pull back from that and learn to wait on things. And I think I've gotten better as a leader about that as well, but I'm still not great. I mean, I can drive my team crazy at times, right, with wanting to activate ideas
Yeah.
that I have.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear.
All right. I think
All
it's
right,
go ahead.
it's Ramani.
Yes.
Are you scared, Amani? You get to put
I'm
me
a,
on the spot all
He
the
looks
time.
scared. He
I'm
does
a
look a
little
little
nervous. Yes.
nervous.
Yes. A little nervous, but bring it on. Let's go.
Okay, make it juicy. Make it a juicy one, Tracy.
Amani, you do a lot of different things and have different businesses and volunteer, and we've talked a lot about agility. So, how do you make things all work together?
Good question. Um, I would say the first thing I do is like I try to bucket my time. That'd be number one, bucket my time. So I kind of do things in a certain order. Um, I try to make sure I spend the most time on what really lights me up because that will keep me full. And then I still try to kind of make sure it's all related. Like most of what I do is related to like music and hospitality. That's like my focus, my sweet spot. So I try to keep it all related and just bucket my time and make sure that I don't get even more distracted and I can focus. So that's kind of my answer right there.
Perfect.
Mm.
Well, one of the things about you, Amani, that I love, and this is why I never say no to anything Amani asks me for,
Aw, Amani.
is the amount that you give back in the industry and to students and teaching. So how do you think that has helped you, the giving back piece of it helped you grow your brand and career?
I would say giving back. So two parts. Like when I give back, particularly with my students, I learn as much from them as I would teach them. Like I learn from them every class, every week. And it's, sometimes it's subtle things, sometimes it's big things. And then I would think to grow my brand, like because of the fact that I gave back through MPI Southern California to Fullerton, then Fullerton hired me. That allowed me a bigger platform, that allowed me to discover a type of job that I love to do, which is teach, and then just allowed me to grow my own personal skills. Like teaching is really hard. It's basically you're doing like workshops every week, 4 times a week for me. And so I think just putting myself out there, networking through volunteering has helped me grow my brand through teaching, and then just being more aware of what's out there is what I would say. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thanks for all the give back that you do, Amani.
Aw,
Anytime.
Amani.
Of course. Yeah.
Amani, he's giving back. He's giving back.
So my final question, usually with my final question, I'll ask you, what advice would you give your 21-year-old self? But I've asked Trace that question just last month and also asked her many years ago.
Hmm.
So instead, I want to ask you, like, if we were to like introduce you and say this is like a banquet, an award ceremony where you're getting like a lifetime achievement award. So if I'm introducing Tracy Judge, she's getting this lifetime achievement award. What would be like your headline? It'd be like Tracy Judge blank. What would that read?
Oh, I don't know, Amani. That's a hard one.
Well, go ahead and think. Let's brainstorm
I
it.
don't
Just
know. I mean,
brainstorm.
I think for me, the number one most important thing about how I'm perceived and what I bring forward is that people feel I'm authentic. So it would be something to do with authenticity.
Okay, perfect. See, that wasn't that hard. That
So
wasn't that hard.
I want to build on this. So Amani, and it's funny, Tracy, Amani and I don't share our questions before. So I didn't realize he was going to ask that. So this is kind of fun. So my questions, I'm going to build on this. So people have said that you are strategic, efficient, a skilled relationship builder. These are direct quotes people have said about you. What do you see as your own personal superpower, and how do you use that for your business? We see ourselves so much differently than other people see us. So I'm curious what you think your superpower is.
Yeah, I think individualization, and that's not my number one strength. And it means being able to see people for the individuals that they are. So it isn't you being an individual, it is you being able to see the individual qualities and traits that other people can bring. And that's what helps me most, obviously, in my business, because that's what we do, right? We match talent and organizations.
Mm-hmm.
But also that's what really leads me to be able to do the rest of it. So be able to lead a team and understand a team. And when things get really busy, but when it comes down to it, them knowing that I intimately know them, I understand them, I know, their strengths, I know when they're upset about something, I can see them. So it helps me a lot as a leader. But that's also what helps me build really authentic relationships in this business, is that's really where it starts. It's starting by understanding the person first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Seeking to understand the person too, which is really valuable. A lot of people are not doing that in business or personal life. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, I think people want to be seen.
Yeah.
In the end, we all want to be seen and we all want to be understood. So if you can make someone feel seen, you're going to make them feel safe and you're going to have stronger relationships.
Yeah.
That's a quote. So let's just say that again. You said, if people want to be seen, they feel safe. If people are seen, they feel safe. I love that. I'm stealing that.
Okay.
I'm writing it down.
Proper attribution.
I'm putting your name right next to it.
Yes, proper attribution. So just thank you for taking time. We know you're very busy managing 3 brands and your own personal life. So thank you very much for spending time with us. How can we best support you?
Well, you can send people to our website to learn more about Soundings. So anybody that needs talent or freelancers, or you just want to learn more about Agile Talent Solutions, I'd love to talk to you one-on-one and explain what that is. And then we're always looking for new talent. So any referrals or recommendations to join our talent community, it's Soundings Thrive. And then lastly, just letting people know about our coaching services, because that's super important to us and a big initiative for ours, because people focusing inwardly on themselves is what's going to help grow the industry as a whole in the end. So that's Soundings Elevate.
Perfect. Well, thank you again. We're going to give you a round of applause. We're going to put you back in the green room. So Tracy Judge, thank you very much for being with us. Round of applause.
Thanks for being here, Tracy. Good to see you.
You too. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Imani.
You're welcome. Okay, Mandy, we are done for the day. Great show. What and who do we have to look forward to next week?
We have another hospitality sales and marketing expert, Corey Falter. And
Okay.
if you're not following him on LinkedIn, you've got to. It's endless tips for sales and marketing and technology. So I'm gonna have my pen and paper ready for next
All
week.
right.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks again to our guest today, Tracy Judge. Remember to subscribe on YouTube or any other platform that you're watching or listening on. Please make sure to rate and review the podcast and live stream. And with that, we will see everyone next week. Take care,
See you
everyone.
next week. Bye.